So Jameis Winston is signed with the Saints as a backup, and people are freaking out about it. Everyone's got an opinion one way or the other of, is Jameis washed? Is he bad? He threw 30 interceptions. He's a joke. Why sign him? And so I, Mr. Lowe's Club, Mr. Saints, Mr. 50-yard line home games, am here to kind of bring you through the muck and explain the situation. And more importantly, why it's an incredible signing by the Saints. This is brilliant from the Saints. Jameis, think about it like this. How many times do you think an NFL player, a quarterback, has led the league in passing, like Jameis, and the next year signed a new deal for $1 million to go be a backup? I'll tell you when. Never. Never happens. You lead the league in passing, you're getting a big deal. Quarterback play in the NFL has to be one of the most misunderstood, misdiagnosed. It's crazy because it's the most important position in sports, the most important position in the most important sport, and yet people get it wrong constantly. Absolutely constantly. I mean, I think Jameis has kind of, he's kind of dealt with like the Nickelback thing. And it's almost like cool to hate Jameis. It's kind of become a thing where Jameis is almost a parody of Jameis. He's almost a parody of himself. There are a lot of worse quarterbacks who don't get the treatment that Jameis gets. And I don't think it's a race thing. I think it's really easy to say, oh, well, he's a black quarterback, so people don't like him because of that. Or people think he is a certain player because of that. But Jameis actually has dodged a lot of the stereotypical black quarterback reception. A lot of the times, the black quarterback reception or the issue or the problem in the media is that they immediately believe they're like a running quarterback or that kind of stuff. Jameis has never done that. Jameis has been pretty much a pocket quarterback, pretty much who he is in his entire career. Jameis suffers from, he's just a goofy guy. And he's a goofy fella. He's done goofy things. Everything in Florida State, the stuff with the pregame speech when he was like eating his own hand. I think that was in New Orleans, actually. All those things have kind of attributed to this Nickelback syndrome, where it's funny to laugh at Jameis, it's funny to hate Jameis. And I didn't hate him, it's just funny to like poke fun at him. And that's what Jameis has become in his career. You look at someone like Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota and Jameis are parallels. They're like the Ryan Leaf, Peyton Manning, drafted 1 and 2. Both quarterbacks, both damn good. Both had their chance of being the franchise guy. And now both are out of their respective draft teams. Mariota is looked at as like this heralded backup. This incredible locker room guy. One of the best leaders in the NFL, I've heard people say. Well, if he's such a great leader, why the hell is he holding a clipboard? Do you want your backup quarterback to be your leader? Mariota kind of gets a pass on really his failings, whereas Winston has not received a pass. If anything, he's received worse than a pass. But I'm here to tell you that Jameis Winston is not bad. Jameis Winston is far from bad. Jameis Winston, at worst, is bang average, in my opinion. And I'll tell you who he's better than. Jameis Winston is better than Baker Mayfield, and you can write that down. Jameis Winston is probably, I'm just doing this off just right off the top, I'd say he's probably the 15th, 16th quarterback in the NFL. Bang average is where I put him. I put him right at the middle. I could probably think about it. I could probably go through the actual list and give you an exact spot of where Jameis would be. But off the top of the dome, 15, 16. Better than Baker, better than a lot of starters in the NFL. When you think about the NFL and you think about the starting quarterbacks, they're not that great. They really aren't that great. How much better is Jameis than Carson Wentz? Or how much better is Carson Wentz than Jameis? They're pretty similar, in my opinion. Jameis last year obviously is marred by 30 interceptions. 30 interceptions, outrageously bad. Unbelievably bad. And a lot of people think that turnovers are relatively random in the NFL. Interceptions, I like to think, are a little less random. Now, some of them are random. All I know, and all you know, is that Jameis threw 30 picks. Do you know if one of those picks was batted up by his own receiver? How many times do we see it where an interception is batted up and picked off like that? Was the interceptions him getting hit, ball flies in the air, intercepted by a defensive lineman, right? I'm not saying that they aren't Jameis' fault because 30 is a lot, but it's easy to be like, man, he threw 30 interceptions. This dude is ass. So, I think the number is a little bit bigger than what it actually is. Jameis, for how bad he was last year with 30 picks, he still had a QBR of, I think, 58.6, which was exactly the same as Tom Brady. And Brady wasn't great either. But Winston is markedly better, undeniably markedly better than other backups. And when you look at other backups in the league, the CJ Beathard's, the players like that, even the Teddy Bridgewaters, he is far and away better than those players. So just on a backup level, Jameis is an incredible signing for 1 year and $2 million or whatever it ends up being. Because I think he has like $1 million base salary, $900,000 signing bonus, I think like another $1 million built into incentives. I'm not sure what the incentives are as a backup, just like how many total steps per game. I'm not sure. But he is better than, I would say, almost every backup in the NFL. Now let's look at him aside from a backup. So he decides to go to New Orleans and learn under Drew Brees and Sean Payton. And he made it known. I'm going there because I'm not going to just risk a big contract and go play it wherever. I want to learn. I want to get better. That maturity right there, I love. That maturity right there, because I've said for decades, way before I had a camera, way before I had a microphone, for decades, that the best situation for a quarterback is to go to a team with a really good quarterback and a really good coach, hold a clipboard, and learn for a few years. Learn for a year. If I drafted Joe Burrow, I would tell Joe Burrow, don't even wear cleats to the games for the first 8 weeks. Don't put shoulder pads on because you ain't getting in the game. You are going to figure this whole thing out from just an NFL perspective. How to get dressed, how to get to the locker room, pregame, the cameras, the TV networks, the commercial breaks, be around the locker room. You're going to learn all of that first, and then we'll worry about the game. Jameis is kind of doing that, but just a few years too late. He understands the NFL aspect, but now he wants to understand the game aspect. So where does he go? Who better to learn from than Drew Brees? Who better to learn from than Sean Payton? And let's say Drew Brees gets hurt. Let's say Drew Brees needs a couple weeks off. Load management. God, I wish they'd tell Drew Brees, don't play the first 4 games of the season. Every year. Or the last 4. But it doesn't matter. Who better to step in, plug in, and play than Jameis? Even if he goes out and throws some picks or whatever, he's going to give you a chance to win. And I know a lot of people aren't going to believe this, but he is so much better than Teddy Bridgewater. So much better than Teddy. And he's making 40 times less than Teddy. And Teddy was safe. Teddy was a game manager to the nth degree. That ain't Jameis. I'd rather have Jameis every day of the week over Teddy Bridgewater. So, thrilled. Absolutely thrilled as backup. Now let's say Brees retires. Okay? Let's say Brees ends up actually retiring. Because every year it's the same story where Saints fans are like, this is the year. Is this the year Brees retires? Is this the year? Let's say he does retire. Who better? Like, how great of a situation is that? That your guy retires and you get to just bring in the security blanket who has now been in this system for a year, who has learned under Brees, who has been in the NFL, who has had success. I mean, it is a dream scenario. I think at that point, Jameis would be like 28, somewhere around there. Dream scenario. Even if you only get Jameis at a peak for 3 years. That's such a great bridge from Brees to the future franchise guy after Jameis. And all for $1 million. It's not like we're signing Jameis for 3 years, $20 million, and we're saying, okay, we're gonna try this out and see how this works. This is absolutely low risk. There is no risk. It's not even low risk. It's zero risk. It's not a low risk situation. It is a zero risk scenario with Jameis Winston. And it just goes to show kind of how much people don't know about the NFL or don't know about, quarterbacking, where you hear all this like, why would the Saints do this? Why would they go get Jameis Winston? Bro, it's a backup quarterback. It's a backup. What, you have to have one. Like, what's the other option? It's not like, it just blows my mind that there could be any negative response to this Jameis Winston thing. You're not asking him to go start in the Super Bowl next season. And if he does, I'd rather him starting than C.J. Beathard or Blaine Gabbert. I mean, look around the league. There are starters who I think are way worse than Jameis Winston. And they're like, imagine being the franchise who's not just saying he's my backup. Imagine being the franchise who says, I got 16 games and I'm riding on Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew, I'm not even sure if he could back up Jameis. He may be like a third string situation. Derek Carr, I'd rather have Jameis than Derek Carr. Even someone like, I'll get Drew Lock. Drew Lock in Denver. Drew Lock is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. I'm sorry, he's not. Drew Lock is a backup. Would I rather have Jameis or Drew Lock? Give me Jameis. Every single day. Kyle Allen last year for Carolina. Kyle Allen was a backup quarterback, came in, started, did decent enough, I guess, for a few games. Jameis is far and away better than Kyle Allen. Like, you have to have these people on your team. You have to have these backups. Why not find someone like Jameis with the highest possible ceiling and the lowest possible floor? We already know what Jameis is. If Jameis is the 30 interception, 5,000 yard quarterback, whatever. Let that be your backup. Fine. But what if he isn't? What if he puts it all together? What if he shaves off half the interceptions and he throws 15 interceptions with 5,000 yards and whatever else? Sounds good to me. Sure. You don't think that a fresh start, you don't think that Jameis getting away from Tampa Bay and getting away from that kind of weird Nickelback, Creed kind of moniker. And by the way, guys, Creed's awesome. Okay? And by the way, too, Nickelback's awesome. You go listen to some Chad Kroeger. Chad Kroeger's awesome. Everything he did with Carlos Santana, awesome. Everything Chad Kroeger did with the Spider-Man soundtracks, awesome. Nickelback is sweet. And if you don't like Nickelback and you hate Nickelback and you think it's funny to hate Nickelback just because you want to be part of the sheep, I got nothing for you. We don't do sheep think here. We don't do group think here. Original thoughts only. Everything else, GTFO. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Jameis Winston signing for the Saints. This may be my favorite signing in the last 5 years. I love this so much. Now, if Brees retires and Winston's slinging it around in the dome, I'm all in. Absolutely sign me up. Hopefully, Jameis Winston, since he got to Florida State, has not had a breath. He has had all this pressure on him. He has had all of this go win national championships, go win in the playoffs, get drafted first overall, be the franchise quarterback of the Buccaneers. Tom Brady comes in to take his job. That's what it took to get Jameis Winston out of a job. Tom Brady. Sure. Cool. Do I think the Bucs would just cut Jameis Winston? Probably not. But it takes the greatest of all time to take your job and the Saints scoop you up for $1 million and you can learn how to breathe and finally take a breath and finally just work on you. How many times in your job, which is probably less stressful than quarterbacking an NFL team, how many times in your job is it like, man, I just need a damn day. I need a day to just reset, figure out what the hell I'm doing, and get my mind right for my tasks. Jameis Winston is finally getting that day. I'm all in on Jameis. I think he's going to be fantastic. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Jameis Winston going to the Saints. Do you think it's a stupid move? Or did you think it was a stupid move? And then you said, wow, James, you just made a lot of sense, brother. I'm on board with Jameis. Jameis, I'm your guy. Me and you, brother. I'll see you on Bourbon Street.